My name's Chris Crehan. I'm a sound engineer, a house engineer here at the Forge in Galway. An average day is getting up at around 8 o'clock in the morning, checking emails, listening back to rough mixes or making a start on fresh mixes. If I have a session on that day, it'll be coming into the studio, setting up, working with a band or an artist. I wouldn't have one particular style that I specialise in. It's pretty far-reaching, the stuff I do here. Everything from like country to trad to metal to rock, hip-hop. I've always had an eclectic taste in music ever since I was a teenager, so I like pulling it apart and analysing what's going on and how does it work. I like to be able to kind of record different genres and figure out how they work and what the artist wants. Usually at the start of a project I'd ask the artist like, what are they going for, what kind of sound? So I'd listen to examples and figure out how it was done and be able to provide that for the artist as well. That's a pretty important part of being a house engineer, because you're always going to be having different types of artists, different types of music, different genres, and different levels as well. Working with musicians, the workflows tend to be different. If it's a band that's well rehearsed and they come in, it could be just a case of miking up a drum kit, miking the amps, and getting the whole band to run through the track together. And if they're very tight, that might be the finished performance of the track. They might do a few takes and choose their favourite take. There might be some overdubbing if there's a few mistakes here and there. They might redo guitars, bass, and then vocals would always tend to be last. Sometimes you might get an artist in that has written some songs and they don't have any backing or any musicians with them, so you'd hire them session musicians and kind of piece it together. It's like that, it's more a case of production, so you're more involved in the creative aspect of it. So it's working with an artist and trying to get their vision and trying to do justice to their vision. These are our selection of preamps. Probably the most used would be the 1081s and the two 1073s. I use the 1081s for drum kits, male voices to give a real rich tone. The 1073s would be more for electric guitars or bass or voices as well, particularly nice and female voices. It's Universal Audio 6176. It's a valve preamp with an EQ and a compressor. I'd use this a lot for bass. I like to DI a bass through it. Hits the valve, it kind of warms the tone up. Focusrite ices are great, they're very clean for when you need that kind of clean, transparent sound. The Neves would be more coloured, but it's kind of what I like about them. I think it's especially important with studios today where sessions might be modular. You might have someone coming just for tracking and it could be mixed themselves at home, or they might send it to their preferred mixer, so it's good to have high quality tracks and high quality files for them leaving, and word can spread that you're producing high quality files, so that you're making it far easier for the mix engineer if everything is sounding great. For tracking and mixing, I like Ableton Live. It's got some handy features such as track grouping, so you can set up your 12 or 14 drum mics and then you can just group them down, so it takes up less screen real estate. I find it very fast as well, which is great for sessions where you have to move very fast, if there's a limited budget and time's of the essence. A guitar amp that I like recording with is a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe. Great clean tone and also a really good distorted tone. It tends to record really well. Okay, some of my favourite mics to use here would be a Neumann U87. It's a great all-rounder. It's a great vocal mic. It tends to work with most voices you put in front of it. This would be a Bayer 201. It's a pretty high quality hyper cardioid dynamic mic. I use it a lot on amps and snare. The great thing about using it on a snare is that you can direct it towards the centre and it kind of keeps the hi-hats out. And hi-hats, when you're recording a drum kit, they tend to leak into every mic, so it's great for that. Another one would be the Neumann KM184. We have two of these, small diaphragm condensers. Tend to be great on like guitars, you can use them as overheads. Anything you throw at them, they tend to sound great. Personal favourite sessions, one would be an album I did last year with a band called Back West. Trad band, and they had a high level of professionalism within their playing and just what they wanted to do with the project. They spent a good while recording it, and they were very determined to get the perfect sound. Yeah, that was a great session, you know, to be working with people that wanted to bring it to another level.
You might understand is to win the heart of Martha.
If I was to give advice to anyone that wanted to become a sound engineer, it would be to practice a lot, I suppose. Record bands in your locality. When you're getting gear, go for better quality pieces rather than an abundance of cheaper pieces, because you'll be able to sell them on the second-hand market. If you buy cheap pieces, it's very hard to get rid of them, and you're not going to get the sound. You're better off with a few good quality mics than you are with 10 of a lesser quality. Learn to track properly. I think that's very important these days, where sessions are moving from studio to studio. You can EQ with your mics. The closer you get proximity effects, you get more bass. When you're setting up a drum kit, put your headphones on and get the drummer to hit the individual drums and move your mic to where it sounds flattering and kind of leave it there. It's the same with guitar amps and the like. Don't be afraid to move the mics around if it's not sounding right. Yeah, mixing with your mics so that when all the tracks are up on your DAW, they sound close to the finished record. Yeah.